That little cup you peel open every morning, up on the top shelf because you're trying to do one good thing for yourself. You bought it for the word on the front, protein, or probiotic, or real fruit. Independent labs have now pulled the most popular American yogurts off the shelf and read them back to front, and the results are ugly. Some are less strawberry than strawberry-colored sugar water, propped up with the kind of starch that stiffens laundry. One testing says has no live yogurt bacteria at all. And the worst offenders aren't the cheap ones. They're the premium protein-packed names you pay extra for because you thought that made them safe. One is almost certainly in your fridge right now. 9 to throw out, 2 that earned your trust. Let's start with the cheapest one. Number 9. We start at the bottom of the price ladder because cheap is where the shortcuts start. Store-brand vanilla yogurt. The kind that sells for about $1 under the grocery chain's own label looks like a bargain until you turn it over. What's in a real vanilla yogurt is milk, cultures, and vanilla. What's in a lot of these tubs is milk, then 2 kinds of sugar, then modified food starch, then cornstarch, then gelatin, and then, right at the end where they hope you stop reading, natural flavor doing the work that a vanilla bean is supposed to do. There is usually no vanilla in the vanilla. A 3/4 cup serving can carry around 20 grams of sugar, most of it added. They're counting on. Milk is the expensive part of yogurt. Starch and sugar are the cheap parts. Every spoonful of thickener is a spoonful of milk they didn't have to buy. You're paying $1 for a cup that's been quietly watered down and propped back up with the stuff that makes wallpaper paste hold. And this is the honest end of the list. It only gets more expensive from here. Number 8. The next problem doesn't hide in the cheap seats. It hides behind the word light. Low-fat and fat-free flavored yogurts market themselves on the one number they want you watching, the fat, while a different number climbs behind your back. When you strain the fat and the cream out of yogurt, you strain out the texture and the taste with it. Something has to put that back. So in goes modified cornstarch for body and a pile of sweetener for flavor. A single fruit on the bottom cup in this category routinely runs 15 to 20 grams of added sugar, which is roughly what you'd get from a candy bar, sitting under a label that says light. The American Academy of Pediatrics tells parents to keep kids under about 25 grams of added sugar for the entire day. One of these cups can spend most of that before lunch. You did the responsible thing and reached for the low-fat one. They just moved the problem to a number you weren't looking at. Number 7. Now the tubes. The squeezable yogurt marketed straight at your grandchildren, the ones with cartoon characters and a name that promises it's going on the go. These are built for a child's hand and a child's trust, which is exactly why the numbers should stop you. A single tube can carry around 18 grams of added sugar. That is most of a child's entire daily allowance in something sold as a healthy snack next to string cheese in the part of the store you thought was the safe part. Strip the marketing off, and you've got a thickened, flavored, brightly colored sugar gel with just enough dairy in it to be legally called yogurt. The cultures may technically be in there. They're not the reason this product exists. It exists because a tube of sugar with a cartoon on it sells, and because parents read yogurt and stop worrying. The brand at number 2 on this list, the first of the 2 that actually earned it, makes a plain cup a child will eat with real fruit stirred in for less money per serving. We get there near the end. Number 6. Here's where a lot of shoppers think they've outsmarted the game. You skipped the flavored cups. You bought the fruit on the bottom kind, figuring at least the fruit is real. Turn it over and read the fruit. In a lot of these, the strawberry layer is strawberries, yes, but also cane sugar, then water, then cornstarch, then juice concentrate for color, then natural flavor, then lemon juice concentrate to fake the brightness. It's less a fruit and more a sugar jam tinted to look like one, sitting under yogurt that's been sweetened a second time on its own. 2 doses of sugar in 1 cup, and you reached for it specifically because you were trying to avoid the sugar. In 2016, 2 shoppers sued some of the biggest Greek yogurt makers in the country, arguing the labels dressed up plain sugar as evaporated cane juice, a phrase invented to sound like a health food. That's the whole move on this shelf. Make the sugar sound like a fruit and the fruit sound like health. 5. Check your own cabinet before I go further because there's a good chance this next one is in it. The high-protein, thick-strained cups that took over the dairy aisle. The ones stacked in a pyramid at the front of the store with a big number and the word protein on the lid. Real strained yogurt gets thick one honest way, by straining out the watery whey until what's left is dense and high in protein. It's slow, and it wastes milk, which costs money. So some brands skip the straining and fake the thickness instead, stirring in milk protein concentrate and cornstarch and pectin until the spoon stands up on its own. The protein number on the front might be real. The way it got there isn't the way you pictured. You imagined a thick tub of strained milk. You're eating regular yogurt bulked up with additives to feel like the expensive thing. It costs them almost nothing and lets them charge you premium. Same shelf, same big protein number, and one of the 2 brands that earned a place at the end of this video does it the slow, honest way. That's the whole difference between them, and it's number 1. Number 4. This one earned a lawsuit specifically about the promise on its front label. For years, one of the most heavily advertised yogurt lines in America was sold as clinically proven to regulate your digestion and help your immune system, fronted by a famous actress in Ada After Aid. In 2010, the Federal Trade Commission and a group of states came down on the company, and it agreed to a settlement of around $21 million with regulators and separately paid into a $35 million fund for customers over health claims the government said the science didn't support. The company didn't admit wrongdoing, but it agreed to stop saying the product was clinically proven to do those things, and to stop claiming it could reduce your odds of catching a cold or the flu. Read that back slowly. The special probiotic yogurt, the one that cost more precisely because it promised to fix your gut, was ordered to stop promising it. And it's still on the shelf today. Same cheerful cup, just quieter about what it used to swear it could do. Number 3. We're into the genuinely unsettling part now, and this one isn't about sugar. In 2024, an independent testing group ran a batch of popular foods for plastic-related chemicals, and one of the country's best-known plain Greek yogurts came back showing phthalates, a family of industrial plastic chemicals. A California shopper sued, pointing out the brand advertised only natural ingredients while, she alleged, the lab found 4 types of these compounds in the cup. The likely source isn't the milk, it's the plastic tub itself, leaching into the yogurt over the weeks it sits in the cold case between the factory and your fridge. The company was selling clean, simple, natural, and by all accounts the recipe inside was clean and simple. The container it lived in wasn't. You did everything right. You bought the plain one, the short ingredient one, the grown-up choice. Nobody put packaging on the list of things you were supposed to worry about. This next one is the cup I told you about at the very start. Number 2. I owe you a name, and here it is. Frozen yogurt cups sold in the freezer aisle as a wholesome treat, marketed on the single word yogurt because that word does all the reassuring. In February 2026, an independent lab ran genome DNA testing on one such product, the kind of test sensitive enough to catch even a trace of an organism. Yogurt, by federal law, has a standard of identity. To be called yogurt at all, it has to be cultured with 2 specific bacteria, Lactobacillus bulgaricus and Streptococcus thermophilus. Those bacteria are the entire point. They're what turns milk into yogurt, and they're what your gut is supposed to get out of the deal. The lawsuit that followed alleges the testing found neither one in the product. Not too few, neither. If that holds up, you're looking at a frozen cup with the word yogurt on the front, and, by the lab's account, no yogurt inside it at all. This is the cup from the beginning of the video, the one that sounds the most like a health food, and, if the testing is right, is the furthest thing from it on this entire list. Every verdict in this video gets rechecked in the label report each month, and the link is in the description. Number 1. And the worst of the 9 is the one that hides its whole trick in a temperature. Some yogurts are heat-treated after they're cultured. The company ferments the milk properly, then cooks the finished product to extend its shelf life, and let it sit on a shelf that isn't even refrigerated. Cooking it kills the very bacteria you bought it for. The live cultures that make yogurt worth eating are gone before the lid ever goes on. This is why the industry created a live and active cultures seal in the first place, to mark the products that didn't do this, which quietly tells you how many do. The cup can still legally lean on the word yogurt. It just isn't doing the one job you're paying it to do. You've been spooning in a room-temperature dairy dessert, thinking you were feeding the good bacteria in your gut, and there were never any bacteria left alive to feed. That's the floor of this aisle. Now here's the ceiling. Look back at the 9, and they broke the same promise 9 different ways. Every one of these companies knows how to make honest yogurt, because honest yogurt is the simplest food there is. Milk and 2 bacteria. They chose starch, or extra sugar, or a plastic tub, or a cooking step that killed the cultures, because every shortcut saved them money on the one expensive ingredient, the milk. That's the floor. Now here's the ceiling. And I'll be clear about these next 2. They are not the least bad cups I could find. They stood on the same shelf, under the same pressure to water it down, and refused. I ranked them on 3 plain things: what's on the ingredient list, whether the thickness comes from straining or additives, and whether the cultures are alive when you open the lid. The first one that earned it. The first is the plainest cup in the case, and that's the point. Whole milk plain yogurt, whose entire ingredient list is pasteurized milk, cream, and live active cultures. That's it. No starch, no gum, no natural flavor, nothing standing in for something real. It's thick because it's actually strained, not because a concentrate was stirred in, which is why a 3/4 cup serving carries around 15 grams of real protein and only the small amount of sugar that's naturally in milk. You'll find it in almost any grocery store in the country, usually around $5 for a 1-pound tub. That works out to roughly $1 a serving, the same as, or less than, several of the additive-packed cups we just threw out. You flavor it yourself with real fruit or a spoon of honey, and you control exactly how much sugar goes in, because for once, nobody did it for you behind your back. The second one that earned it. The second earned its spot the hard way, the way I promised back at number 5, by getting thick without cheating. Organic plain yogurt made from the milk of grass-fed cows. Ingredient list again just milk and live active cultures, thickened by straining alone with no protein concentrate and no starch propping it up. The organic sourcing means the milk comes from cows that grazed on grass instead of feed, and the culture count is high because nothing was heat-treated after fermentation. So what you buy is what's still alive when you open it. It runs a little more, often around $6 for the tub, which pencils out to something like $1.50 a serving. That's the honest price of yogurt that's actually strained and actually still cultured, and it's still less than you'd pay for a stack of those little flavored protein cups that got there with additives. This is the brand that does, the slow, honest way, exactly what number 5 faked. The recipe inside these cups can change quietly, any quarter, without a word to you. A brand that strains honestly today can start stirring and concentrate next year, and the label may never tell you. That's why the label report exists. Every month, we recheck every verdict and flag reformulations before you buy again. Scan the code on screen or use the first link below. $10 a month, cancel anytime, and 5 months are free if you go annual. Just want the method? Both guides are $15 one time. Same link.